Outstanding. Pow!
All right. We're back.
Welcome back.
We are back. So, yeah, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I don't know what happened. The feed just went down sporadically. But we're back up.
Yep.
Thank God. And what were we talking about, Parker?
We were talking about Emperor Nero.
Yeah, we were about to get into the Emperor Nero stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to I wrote something about the feed going down, just as an update in my notes, and then I can start sending it out to people. But I'll have to do that in a second. But so what we're talking about is we're talking about the Antichrist and stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about how the church was talking about the Antichrist and Nero, a little bit about Nero as well.
I opened up. I started the mass thing. I took the mass card out. Yep. Right,
and we were just about to I feel like we were just about to dive into so who was Nero?
Okay. That is a good that would be a good starting point before we read any stuff, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about Emperor Nero. And I really do hope that everything stays up. Anyway, yeah, I'm not even gonna think about that. Anyway, let's get into some Nero. Okay. Oh, before I do that, I do have to get the link.
Oh,
there we go. Oh, we got another subscriber. Thank God.
Yep, we did. And thank you and speaking of that, thank you to all of our subscribers, viewers, and listeners.
Yes.
Please subscribe, and share with your friend. Let us have a voice too. Help us out.
Oh,
we're on Spotify and Rumble, and soon all social media.
It really must be that I have everything up like that.
It probably was.
I'm closing it out right now.
Yeah,
I'm closing it out. That's what it was. Let me get the link here.
And also, if you have anything you want to talk about or add into what we're saying or oppose, however you want, you can feel free to call in at 866-970-9997 at extension 1.
That's right.
And we'll answer your call.
That's right. Just like that guy for for Gino. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Do you hear him?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you gotta be, man. You gotta be like that. That's right.
Well,
anyway. So hopefully our internet gets better.
Mm-hmm. It should be, I think. I think we're good now. You had probably too many things open, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about Nero first? Or no, the First Martyrs, right?
Yeah, we were talking about the First Martyrs, how they were killed by...
Did we have the card up? Let me just pull the card up again.
Okay.
And we read all this, right? Did we read it all?
Yeah.
This is what today. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we read that one.
All right. Then we read this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, then.
And that's right when basically the feed went down.
I just hope we stay up.
Yeah. Well,
for whatever reason, I don't know why that happened.
It was probably because of all the open windows you had. So we'll be good. But Emperor Nero is actually one of them that I kind of.
Okay, before that, let's talk about the feast day though, because the feast day is the first martyrs of the Church of Rome. Okay, they're Christians martyred in the city of Rome during Nero's persecution in 64. The event is recorded by both Tacitus and Pope Clement I, among others. They're celebrated in the Roman Catholic Church as an optional memorial on June 30th. That's today.
Mm-hmm.
So the background is Rome had a large Jewish population. The couple, Priscilla and Aquila, were tent makers from Pontus, whom Paul met in Corinth. They had lived in Rome until the Emperor Claudius ordered all the Jews to leave the city. Suetonius mentions this as due to disturbances in the city between the Jews and the followers of Christus. Claudius died in 54 AD. There were early Christians in Rome within a dozen or so years after the death of Jesus, though they were not the converts of Paul. He had not yet visited them at the time he wrote his epistle to the Romans in 57 or 58 AD. Paul wrote to the community of both Jews and Gentiles. So, what?
No, I mean,
so this is before. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, in July of 64 AD, Rome was devastated by fire, largely made up of wooden tenements. Fire was a frequent occurrence in the city. Rumor blamed the tragedy on the unpopular Emperor Nero, who wanted to enlarge his palace. He accused the Christians. According to the historian Tacitus, many Christians were put to death. Not so much of the crime of firing the city as of hatred against mankind. Covered with the skins of beasts, they were torn by dogs and perished, or were nailed to crosses, or were doomed to the flames and burnt, to serve as a nightly illumination when daylight had expired. Nero offered his gardens for the spectacle and was exhibiting a show in the circus, while he mingled with the people in the dress of a charioteer or stood aloft on a car. Hence, even for criminals who deserve extreme and exemplary punishment, there arose a feeling of compassion. For it was not, as it seemed, for the public good, but to glut one man's cruelty, that they were being destroyed. Peter and Paul were probably among the victims. Whoa. This feast first came in the general Roman calendar in the 1969 calendar reforms. The intention of the feast is to give a general celebration of early Roman martyrs. Prior to the calendar reforms, there were dozens of relatively minor Roman martyrs celebrated or commemorated in the calendar. Several of these had scant historical evidence, but did benefit from immemorial tradition. This feast is a replacement of the Roman martyr feasts, whose absence allowed for a less cluttered and more dies natale based sanctorial calendar of more major saints. It also permitted the greater celebration of Ferius, partially enacting the Second Vatican Council's call for the proper of time to take a greater precedence. All of the early Roman martyrs retain their place in the martyrology and can be celebrated in local calendars or privately, unless impeded by a greater observance.
Okay.
So the placement of the feast is directly after the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul, who are the, that's interesting, man, SS, who were the principal patron saints of Rome. The subsequent martyrs are associated with this patronage. The feast day was formerly occupied with a commemoration of St. Paul and fell in the octave of Saints Peter and Paul. The Church of St. Protomartiri Via Aurelia Antica in Rome is dedicated to these first martyrs. So,
that's a beautiful church.
That's how it comes.
Hold on, go into that little word. Yeah, that's a nice church.
It is a nice church.
Wow. All right. So yeah, it seems.
Does it say Dom right there?
Yeah, I still can't see. I'm not sure.
Oh, anyway.
Well. But yeah, I like how they put that. Where was it? Yeah, unpopular Emperor Nero.
Mm-hmm. The first martyrs of the Church of Rome story. There were Christians in Rome within a dozen or so years after the death of Jesus, though they were not the converts of the apostle of the Gentiles. Paul had not yet visited them at the time he wrote this great letter in 57-58. There was a large Jewish population in Rome, probably as a result of controversy between Jews and Jewish Christians. The Emperor Claudius expelled all Jews from Rome in 49 and 50 AD. And Suetonius, the historian, says that the expulsion was due to disturbances in the city caused by certain Crestus. Perhaps many came back after Claudius' death in 54 AD. Paul's letter was addressed to a church with members from Jewish and Gentile backgrounds. In July of 64, more than half of Rome was destroyed by fire. Rumor blamed the tragedy on Nero, who wanted to enlarge his palace. He shifted the blame by accusing the Christians. According to historian Tacitus, many Christians were put to death because of their hatred of the human race. Peter and Paul were probably among the victims. Okay, so this is basically just regurgitating Wiki.
Yeah, or Wiki regurgitating that.
Nero, this guy Nero, this was like the first Antichrist, man.
Yes, and in the alphanumeric code, like language they have, his name actually does also translate to 666.
It does?
Yeah.
What?
Hence why he really is believed. Like, I mean, I would say he is very widely believed as the first Antichrist.
Yes. I mean,
I feel like most people, regardless.
Do you believe that the Bible thumping Christians believe this as well?
If they know him, yes.
So look at this article, Nero versus the Christians. Was Nero the Antichrist? The bestial image of Roman emperor persists in popular culture, but the truth is more complex. Mary Stocks, scholar, political activist, writer, and journalist, published a play in 1933, provocatively titled Hail Nero, a reinterpretation of history in 3 acts. It presents the notorious emperor who reigned AD 54 to 68 as a figure driven by his concern for social justice and women's rights. Stocks' Nero sets up a resort at Antium near Rome for the common people, tries to combat disease in the slums, and champions the female scientist Locusta, a woman who others wrongfully thought was a prolific poisoner. The public version of the play included a preface written by Mary's husband, John, the professor of philosophy at the University of Manchester, which explained the reason for writing such a story about an emperor traditionally viewed as a murderer, arsonist, and political tyrant. In those days, antiquity, the historical conscience and the law of libel were both young and weak. It is not yet the resources of modern scholarship to restore even Nero to respectable company. The author of this drama uses the privileges of the imagination to carry the restoration of stage further. Okay, so is this just about... So while Mary Stocks may have taken full advantage of dramatic license in her play, her instincts were correct in terms of second-guessing prevailing narratives about complex and distant historical figures. In recent decades, scholars have been doing just that. One aspect of Nero's legacy that has not been challenged in ancient history scholarship or popular culture until recently, however, is the belief that biblical writers thought he would return as the Antichrist. From the 3rd to the 21st century, albeit with its popularity waxing and waning, the view that Nero is documented in the Bible as the instigator of the apocalypse has appeared in a wide variety of literature, from sermons to novels to scholarship. The story goes that the writers of books that would go on to make up the New Testament had Nero in mind when describing the adversary of Christ, the Antichrist. 2 texts in particular are commonly cited. The first, Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians, now thought by some modern scholars to have been written after Paul's death by a different author, in which the Antichrist figure is the man of lawlessness. And the second Revelation, written by John, a different John from the author of the gospel, while in exile on the island of Patmos, in which the Antichrist is the first beast. When these texts were written is debatable. In antiquity, Christians believed that 2 Thessalonians was written early in Nero's reign in the mid-50s, but most now agreed that both texts were circulated in the latter part of the first century. In 2 Thessalonians and Revelation, the Antichrist figure is described as cruel, violent, and destructive, much as Nero is in the books we read from antiquity. Accused of killing his stepbrother, mother, wife, and tutor, the historical accounts which survive, most of which date to the 2nd century or latter, are full of damning evidence about Nero's character. In particular, he is accused of being the first emperor to kill Christians in AD 64. In the summer of that year, 10 out of Rome's 14 districts caught fire. Fires were common in Rome, but the scale of this event was larger than usual. In the aftermath, rumors circulated that Nero himself had started the fire so that he could rebuild Rome as he saw fit. Writing in the 2nd century, Tacitus tells us that to put down the rumor, Nero blamed an unpopular group of outsiders in Rome, the Christians. He made a spectacle of the punishment. Those convicted were killed by dogs or fastened to crosses and burned at night like lamps. Wow. So Nero, a little bit about him, right?
Mm-hmm. I think from the book of Wikipedia now.
Yes. So he was born December 15th, AD 37. He was the 5th Roman emperor and final emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, reigning from AD 54 until his death in AD 68. He was adopted by the Roman Emperor Claudius at the age of 13 and succeeded him on the throne. Nero was popular with the members of his Praetorian Guard and lower-class commoners in Rome and its provinces, but he was deeply resented by the Roman aristocracy. Most contemporary sources describe him as tyrannical, self-indulgent, and debauched. After being declared a public enemy by the Roman Senate, he committed suicide at age 30. Nero was born at Antium in AD 37, the son of Gnaeus Domitius Aenobarabus and Agrippina the Younger, a great-granddaughter of the Emperor Augustus. When Nero was 2 years old, his father died. His mother married the Emperor Claudius, who eventually adopted Nero as his heir. When Claudius died in 54, Nero became emperor with the support of the Praetorian Guard and the Senate. In the early years of his reign, Nero was advised and guided by his mother, Agrippina, his tutor, Seneca the Younger, and his Praetorian prefect, Sextus Afranius Burrus. But he soon sought to rule independently and to rid himself of restraining influences. His power struggle with his mother was eventually resolved when he had her murdered. Roman sources also implicate Nero in the deaths of his wife Claudia Octavia, supposedly so that he can marry Propaea Sabina, and of his foster brothers, Britannicus. Nero's practical contributions to Rome's governance focused on diplomacy, trade, and culture. He ordered the construction of amphitheaters, promoted athletic games and contests, and made public appearances as an actor, poet, musician, and charioteer. The scandalized and aristocratic contemporaries, as these occupations were usually the domain of slaves, public entertainers, and infamous persons. The provision of such entertainments made Nero popular among lower-class citizens, but his performance undermined the imperial dignity. The costs involved were borne by local elites, either directly or through taxation, and were much resented. During Nero's reign, the general Corbulo fought the Roman-Parthian War of 58-39 through 63 and made peace with the hostile Parthian Empire. The Roman general Suetonius Paulinus quashed a major revolt in Britain, led by the Iceni's queen Boudica. The Bosporan kingdom was briefly annexed to the empire, and the first Jewish-Roman war began. When the Roman senator Vindix rebelled, with support from the eventual Roman emperor Galba, Nero was declared a public enemy and condemned to death in absentia. He fled Rome, and on June 9th, AD 68, he committed suicide. His death sparked a brief period of civil war known as the Year of the Four Emperors. Most Roman sources offer overwhelmingly negative assessments of his personality and reign. The historian Tacitus claims the Roman people thought him compulsive and corrupt. Suetonius tells that many Romans believed that the Great Fire of Rome was instigated by Nero to clear land for his planned Golden House. Tacitus claimed that Nero seized Christians as scapegoats for the fire, had them burned alive, seemingly motivated not by public justice but by personal cruelty. Some modern historians question the reliability of the ancient sources of Nero's tyrannical acts, considering his popularity among the Roman commoners. In the eastern province of the empire, a popular legend arose that Nero had not died and would return. After his death, at least 3 leaders of short-lived, failed rebellions presented themselves as Nero reborn in order to gain popular support. Wow. Dude, if I get into his early life and stuff like that, we'll spend so much time.
Yeah.
That was a good, I think, brief thing.
That was, yeah.
Right?
It talks about everything that he's done. I mean, really, he was. That's why I believe, because he wanted it for selfish needs. That's why he's the first Antichrist, because he just persecuted these Christians for basically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
For his own, as they said, evil, cruelty, and whatever.
Right.
I mean, that's a very good way to describe like an Antichrist. The exact opposite. He wants to see everybody suffer. Mm-hmm. For his entertainment and his pleasure. That's what, in a very sick way, brings him peace.
Wow.
If you would put it that way.
Yep.
I mean, that is the exact Antichrist at that point. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jesus wanted everybody to love each other and help each other and be there for each other type thing. And then you have this guy who just wants to bring everybody together and let everybody know that he is like torturing people at this moment. He was using them as lampposts. Like, yeah. Come on. How sick is that really?
It's pretty sick. It's kind of like, I mean, Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very similar. I mean, very similar.
Right.
I don't really know which way. If you had to pick to be killed by, which one would you pick? Vlad
Nero or Vlad the Impaler? Yeah. Why wasn't Vlad the Impaler the Antichrist?
Well, because he didn't persecute Christians. He did that to his to like neighboring, what do you want to call it? Like neighboring societies that were trying to take over his castle, and he would do it to like the prisoners of war and stuff like that.
Would he?
Yeah, that was his. So he was more of like an evil general / king or whatever you want to call it,
Yes.
Like evil leader. But just out of like, he could be, I guess. Yeah, if you would put it that, he could be an Antichrist. He was just doing that for his amusement. But that was the thing. He did it for his. There's stories, there's pictures painted where he would be eating his meal in the field of, steaks of, people impaled.
Who was that? That was Vlad the Impaler, right?
While Nero made it a public, like, you know what I mean? Almost like an event. Like, hey, come to the Colosseum and watch this. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a little bit different. Because at least, I mean, both are evil men, but Vlad did it for his own intimate amusement.
It's pretty gangster though.
Both are, yeah.
So you want to read some after all that? That's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in of that guy, you know.
Yeah,
and so let's read a little bit of let's read a bit some
from the book.
From the book.
Okay,
let's read from the book.
You know what? Let's do it again.
That's nice to do. Yeah, I like it.
I don't think we did it on this one, actually. So good.
So this is from
Amos
and Andy.
Oh yeah,
that's like us. So okay, this is a reading from the book of the prophet Amos. So Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent word to Jeroboam. All right, Jeroboam. Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent word to Jeroboam, king of Israel. So he said, Amos has conspired against you here within Israel. The country cannot endure all his words. This is Amos writing this?
It's
kind of one-sided, isn't it?
Well, it is the book of Amos and what was it?
Kind of goes like this. Look at this meme right here. Kind of reminds me of this. The dangers of a one-sided story.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent word to Jeroboam, king of Israel. Amos has conspired against you here within Israel. The country cannot endure all his words. For this is what Amos says. Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be exiled from its land. To Amos, Amaziah said, off with you, visionary, flee to the land of Judah. There, earn your bread by prophesizing, but never again prophecy in Bethel, for it is the king's sanctuary in a royal temple. Amos answered Amaziah, I was no prophet, nor have I belonged to a company of prophets. I was a shepherd and a dresser of sycamores. The Lord took me from following the flock and said to me, go prophesy to my people Israel. Now hear the word of the Lord. You say, prophecy not against Israel, preach not against the house of Isaac. Now thus says the Lord, your wife shall be made a harlot in the city, and your sons and daughters shall fall by the sword. Your land shall be divided by a measuring line, and you yourself shall die in an unclean land. Israel shall be exiled far from its land. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
Wow, it's so the God of the Old Testament is your wife is going to be a harlot in the streets. Your sons and your daughters will die of the sword, and you're going to die in an unclean city.
Yeah,
in an unclean way, in an unclean city, whatever.
Yeah, what? I'm actually serious. I'm not understanding what's disturbing about that.
Because of what? Because if he does, what did they do before? What's the first part of it? What did they do? What did he do? What did he do to transgress God?
They weren't following his law, the 10 Commandments. Actually, since this is the book of a lot of Old Testament coming from Moses too. So right. Yeah, this is like they weren't following the 10 Commandments. They weren't practicing what the Lord has told them by granting them their freedom to the land and giving them Israel. Shouldn't they have been They should have been grateful and followed the.
I don't know.
That's why I believe. That's why I believe he seems so angry and vengeful.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, I think it's
because like people were going out of control there, and he was like, that's it, man. I have to show them. People don't want to be. See, this is the difference. Mm-hmm. People don't want to be told; they want to be shown. Don't show, tell. I mean, sorry, don't tell, show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't show, tell.
No, don't tell, show.
Don't tell, show. Sorry, too much incense.
I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
But so it's like when you're writing a book, it's the same thing, right? You know, you don't want to tell people the book when you're writing. You want to show it to them like it's a story.
Yeah.
You want to lay it out for them like it's a movie.
Mm-hmm. That's how I'm seeing this. I'm not seeing it necessarily as like it's
well, but literally, I'm thinking God was like, okay, he was sending prophets, right?
Yeah.
He was sending these prophets, and the prophets were telling them and they were warning them, right? And then he had to go like, that's it. Okay. All right. I'm sending my only begotten son. I'm going to use Mary as a host, basically. She's a virgin, right? And I'm going to put my soul into human form. And they're going to, this guy is going to show them the right way to live. This is how you do it. All right. And so I think that people that are looking in the back, looking at the Old Testament, you really are like living in the past. Like you're living in the time of destruction, kind of, if you think about it.
I mean,
the time when people were, you know, prophets are telling them, and maybe that, you know, maybe it's good to have that thought, that that interpretation of it. Maybe that works for you to have that interpretation, you know, because you can do that. You can definitely like think about it in that way if you want to.
I can definitely see how, like,
as long as you're listening to if you're listening to the prophets,
right? Yeah, like,
that are in there. Yeah. Okay. You can think about it like that if you want to.
Because I mean, I get that point. I get their points on this because with the whole New Testament thing now,
it's a more strict though.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, and it's more like so because a lot of times, like Jesus died for all our sins, right?
Right.
Which almost, yeah, I won't lie. I used that a little bit in my advantage, like thinking, oh wait, so somebody already died for all the sins I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna do whatever I want. That's why I see the Old Testament, how it's so strict and, you know, vengeful and eat like that.
Right.
That's why I see how people can live that in there more than the New Testament and still believe in Jesus, because they're believing in Jesus, that he came and sacrificed his life for all of us.
Right.
However, in order to not commit or not to repeat history, follow what the Old Testament says, because without that, if everybody followed the Old Testament back then and they all followed the 10 Commandments the way they were supposed to and all that, then he never would have needed to send Jesus. That's the point I'm seeing with why they stick with that, I think. Because, yeah, like cause effect thing. If you stuck with this, if you did what you were supposed to, you wouldn't have this effect.
Right. And so it does work either way, I guess.
I see where it works.
Right.
I don't personally.
Going back to the whole thing that we're talking about in, you know, in the beginning part.
Right.
It's a path.
Yeah. It's your path. It's whatever path you find.
Whatever path you find.
That's the one that you have to live with.
Yeah.
It's your life. You have to live it. Nobody else really can tell you or to make you do anything. You have to live your life, figure it out.
Yeah. So I think just like a lot of Christianity, they call themselves Christians, though. It's kind of weird, man.
Why do they go out?
Why do you even call yourself Christian and then you go off the Old Testament?
Like, that would be more of a Judeo-Christian mix, like I would call it.
At least balance it. You got to be balancing it. When I watch some of this, it's all Old Testament. It's crazy. It's like they don't understand it. They don't understand it. That's why the church exists. It exists because this is how you do it. We're showing you how you do it.
You know, I think that the other thing too is that it's just because they think basically that the Catholic Church has it wrong. Is how I'm also viewing it, I guess. Okay. Because they're looking at it like, oh, well, the Old Testament, you know, came after Jesus and all this other stuff. And, like, I think they're having a harder time believing that for whatever reason. And sticking with the fact of all these other people who wrote the Old Testament, which I remember we looked it up and most of it was Moses. So how are you going to believe one thing, but then not believe another? I get why, because these people like Moses, like all the other Judah and other ones like that they talk about, they were just prophets. They were born of a man by a of a woman and a man.
Let me read the second. Because we got it,
and that's Matthew.
This is Matthew. This is the second reading. That's what we do in the Catholic faith. Every day, it's a mass is offered. I just use it as a centering meditation. So anyway, they glorified God who had given such authority to men. This is the second reading. Okay, that's the main takeaway of it. Here it is. Okay. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. After entering a boat, Jesus made the crossing and came into his own town. And there people brought to him a paralytic. And this is, remember, it's coming off of yesterday, the boat. Remember the whole boat part? Yep. So, and there people brought to him a paralytic lying on a stretcher. So the guy was paralyzed. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Courage, child, your sins are forgiven." At that, some of the scribes said to themselves, "This man is blaspheming." Jesus knew what they were thinking and said, "Why do you harbor evil thoughts? Which is easier, to say your sins are forgiven or to say rise and walk? But that you may know the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He then said to the paralytic, "Rise, pick up your stretcher and go home." He rose and went home. When the crowd saw this, they were struck with awe and glorified God, who had given such authority to men. The gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an easy one. Obviously, it's easy.
It's an easy one, and it comes down to a lot of the stuff that we were talking about in previous episodes, right?
Yeah.
Especially that one PB to
redemption.
We've been talking, second chances, transitioning, all the things. This is where it's all about. And check this out. This is the homily from today. Check this out.
All right.
Jesus has this confrontation because a lot of times, as in the Old Testament, there was judgment if the kings did not abide by the law and the prophets. The prophets were convicted by knowing the Lord had told them to do this. And, we still have the same today. We're thinking, if we are convicted in the Lord, we're right. It doesn't matter because this world is passing. And a lot of things we challenge morally, as one priest once said. It was kind of a powerful quote. It doesn't matter a hill of beans what you think. It matters what God teaches us. And that's always been the tension in Old Testament times, and now in New Testament times. It's not always in the temple, it's how God gives his authority. And Jesus is saying he is going to give his authority to human beings to forgive sins. And this is a huge smackdown. Again, they were whispering and thinking, and Jesus says, "Why do you harbor such evil thoughts?" And it's like, how did you know what they're thinking? But he illustrated this, he called them out. And he said, "Oh, you want to see something else? Pick up your stretcher and go home." And what he was saying also to us is at times we believe in the power of the confession. Believe in it. Your sins are forgiven. We all are sinners, including the first Pope Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times. Again, he made up for that. But we sometimes are paralyzed by our past sins. We go to confession. We ask God to forgive. God does forgive because he wants us to always be walking. He doesn't want us to be immobilized on a stretcher because of our past sins. He doesn't want us to walk in guilt. If we have sincerely repented and have set our course in a different way, we are forgiven. And we should know that. Some of our brothers and sisters suffer from extreme scrupulosity. That's not how God wants us to live. Acknowledge the sin, repent from the sin, pick up your stretcher, and then move on.
Amen. Amen. Yep. You got me on? Yep. That's on. Right. And my Aunt Marie says, God was very upset with the people in the Old Testament. God freed them, fed them, and gave them the rule to live by to attain heaven. They were people who did not listen. God created man to live with him in heaven. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Can't live in the past. It's also kind of like the same as.
See, I definitely.
It's almost the same as like the Old Testament is like you're paralyzed, kind of too.
Yeah.
If you stay in the Old Testament, you're paralyzed.
Yeah. Because
it's a paralyzed way of thinking.
Say this, like from the other Christians I knew, back where I grew up and whatever. Yeah. Whew. When you want to talk about like the strictness level,
right?
Like my other Catholic friends, not that we could do whatever we wanted in the house, but we had pretty cool reign.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
But like my other Christian friend, like I remember the one like. Oh, I think we were talking about something involving whatever, a movie, right? And she was just like, blasphemy. That's a demonic movie. You turn that off right now. It's Scooby-Doo.
Really?
It was the live action Scooby-Doo movie when it first came out.
Yeah.
We're like, it's Scooby-Doo. And she's like, it depicts an evil ghost. Well, yeah, because it's Scooby-Doo, which they hunt ghost,
right?
And she just claimed how evil it was, and then pulled out her Bible and started reading verses, of course, Old Testament. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there like, what does this have to do with Scooby-Doo? Like, I was so hung up on that. Yeah, my parents when I got home, and they're like, oh, they're just like. They're Christian. Some of them are like that. You'll meet them.
So briefly, when I was going to school, like I went to consistent Catholic school from 4th grade on. But before that, I actually went to like a Christian school, like in 3rd grade.
Really?
And a different one in 2nd grade, a different kind too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 different ones, 2 different kinds. A different one in 2nd, different one in 3rd. Just regular Christian. One was like Baptist, and they were both Baptist actually.
Both Baptists?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was the only time I ever heard of there's like Halloween was evil.
Yeah. Yep. That's another good one.
That's where I heard that from first. I never heard it in the Catholic Church and going to Catholic school. Never.
No, and never with your Catholic friend. Like your Catholic friends were the ones that actually were the ones going out. Yeah. Usually, or the non-religious one but like just they were, but like certain Christians, like my neighbors were Jehovah's. There is
a different, going to it says it in the Bible, man. I mean, it says that they have the power to absolve people of sin.
Yeah.
Is that wrong? I mean, what are we talking about here?
I don't think it's wrong. No.
Does that say that? Didn't we read that? I mean,
I thought we did. But what do I know? I mean, seriously, what do I know?
What are they what kind of Bible are they going off of, these people? We need to get that same Bible. Well, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that same Bible.
Right.
I think it's the King James Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the standard Bible thumper Bible?
That I'm not.
If you know,
sure.
Let me know in the comments if you want to.
Or you can call in and tell us.
Or you can tell us 866-970-9997.
That was way too fast. Extension 1.
Extension 1. But anyway, you can. Where was I at? Yes.
The King James Bible, is that the only one
that's and I'm going to get the King James Bible. I'll get that, and I'll get the Catholic Bible. So I can put them next to each other, and I can look up different things and see what the difference is. I do want to see the difference between the two language.
I did see the difference when we first were doing the podcast, because I didn't realize type in Catholic at the end when I would type in the Bible verses.
Yes.
I was getting different versions.
Interpretations.
Yeah, and I was in there, I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on. I'm like, how they change up just a little phrasing? I'm like, it makes it totally different now.
Really?
I was like, wait, you're like, the Catholic one sounded one way.
Yes.
And then the other one sounded a different way. Most of them were pretty close. But I remember there was one, I was like, that's off. Unless I'm like really wrong myself. I'm like, that's different.
Right.
I would have to look back and see if I can find which one that was.
So, okay, continuing, Aunt Marie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he sent his only son to save mankind. Christ is the example to follow. So he did what you said. He gave us Jesus to show us how we can attain heaven. We cannot comprehend how much love the Father in heaven loves us. We look to the church to help us and to guide us so that we can live our lives as God intended. Aunt Marie, I want to tell you this. This is what I've been saying. I'd rather organize religion than unorganized religion, because that's what it seems like a lot of these people have. They have unorganized religion. The whole reading of the Bible is unorganized. You're staying in the past. You don't understand it. The past is there for you to read it as a prequel to the sequel. The sequel we're in the sequel. That's the present after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's how
You're supposed to read it, or either that, or you read the prequel, you read the sequel, and now we're in the present, and then now you live your life like we're in the third installment. We're in the third installment,
really.
And then the church grew from that. You got to respect it. Anyway, switching course because, well, we lost a little bit of time, but I know we'll probably go over noon a little bit because I'm going to put those two together anyway to make the full 2-hour block or whatever. But anyway, so we might have to go over a little bit over noon. Okay. I think we lost like 15 minutes, maybe tops.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
So, but we got a lot of bad news to talk about too, right?
Yeah.
When we come back later, we'll do the meditation at the end, and then we'll also say the prayer. We're going to start saying a prayer.
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. And we should do the Psalms because we should do like the Psalm every day. I think we should do the Psalm at the end, and then do like, Lord, hear our prayer, that kind of thing. You remember that from Catholic.
Yeah, look,
from Mass. Yeah, Lord, hear our prayer. Lord, hear our prayer for this. Lord, hear our prayer for this. Lord, hear our prayer. So while we're talking on the podcast, if we have ideas, like right now is the time because it's for the,
Yeah, this is bad.
This is the bad news part, right?
The world's new. Ooh, the worldly
this is
news.
The worldly news. So once we start talking about the worldly news, we're gonna go. Okay, we need to pray for this person. Pray for this person. We'll put them on there, and then you say, Lord, hear our prayer. Put the Lord, hear our prayer on there. Write that.
Yeah, I have that here.
Okay.
Hold on. This is the worldly news. Instead of good news, bad news, what of the holy news? And
no, good news, bad news. I'm sorry. You've been over. It's overran. I'm sorry.
No.
All right. You want to start? We'll just go. Well, because I'm an English major, I'm just going to go by alphabetical order.
Okay.
Here we go. We'll start with AOC on the Colbert Show. Here we go.
The Supreme Court has engaged in the overreaching of its authorities in denying the human and civil rights of any pregnant person or person that could become pregnant in the United States of America. They have engaged in overreach, and it is the responsibility of the president and Congress to put the Supreme Court in check because they have delegitimized themselves.
Okay.
What?
When it comes to the whole Roe v. Wade thing,
right?
If I'm correct here, I'm not even going to pull it up because I've read it before. There, I'm pretty sure I am here. They are still allowed to have the abortions if the state allows whatever. Well, they are still allowed, I believe, to have abortion on you umbrella like if it's endangering the mother's life, and all incest and rape is what I believe is still.
I think
covered.
that people are going to start thinking about relationships differently.
They are.
They're going to start. This is going to be good for the country. It's going to be one of those things where like you need. Okay, remember the two different energies of politics, right? You got and also in religion. And in everything, actually, the yin and the yang, it's the male energy and the female energy. It's the conservative and the liberal energy. It's the good, the good and the evil, whatever you use. So you got to take a nice nurturing angle, or you're going to take the tough approach. This is the tough approach, and that's needed right now. It's needed, and it's like daddy saying, "I'm sorry, cut this out." Cut this out.
And actually, real quick too, I feel like this too, for a little fun. Why don't you use this argument with anybody that supports the abortion thing? Oh, you're right. Clarence Thomas is such a terrible person, right? God, I thought it was only evil white men that passed laws like that. And look up, in the 1970s when it was passed, the entire Supreme Court then was old white men.
Mm-hmm.
You are going so far off your rockers, people, a little. Like, you're talking about you don't want the old white men in politics or in office anymore. But the old white men then passed it for you.
Yeah.
And then now
they're going to say they don't want Catholics because the Catholics are the ones on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I know.
They're the ones doing this.
Yeah. So it's going to...
I mean, I love it. I'm so happy about it. I'm so ecstatic. I love it.
Well, but the other thing, too, Catholics are the next to be targeted.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God! Why am I getting involved in things that like put your target on?
I didn't mean it like that, but I thought of it too after I said it.
AOC is an incompetent fool.
Look, you know what? Hold on.
Anyway, we can't go long on each topic because there's so many. Well, whatever. You know. Hold on. What? What do you got?
No.
You wrote down AOC?
Yeah, I just wanted to do that. Yeah.
Okay, this is Biden on Korea. So Biden, I didn't get a news story or anything like that. There's just a clip from Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And it said, and it was a screenshot that you sent me today. I met with President Yoon Suk Yeol. Damn, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Do you want to? Can you pronounce that? Of the Republic of Korea, and Prime Minister Fumio Kishida of Japan to discuss our shared objectives, including a complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and a free and open Indo-Pacific. Trilateral cooperation is essential.
Well, because there's still...
Who is that? He's the president of the Republic of Korea. Mm-hmm. Is that South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay. Not North Korea.
No, that's Kim Jong-un.
Because they would tell you, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Which one is more, you know? Who would he be meeting with? He's not going to meet with North Korea leader.
Right.
Only somebody with cojones would.
Look at this cartoon, man. I want you to see this. Have you seen this before? Look at this one juxtaposed with So,
Wow.
what do you think about that when you watch both of those together?
There was at least one person that jumped in for that dude.
There is one person?
Yeah, that went in that, you know, at the end, tried to defuse, like,
Mm-hmm.
it was at the end, but I mean, still, like, somebody came in. They weren't fully mindless and focused on just their phone in their hand, like the cartoon videos.
Right.
One person.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Like, yeah. I feel like it should be a challenge now. Like, people should try to put their phone down more, I guess.
Well,
Especially, like,
yeah.
I mean, if it's anything, I can definitely say
It used to happen back in the day, by the way. It happened in the 1960s. There's an incident where a woman was killed violently in New York City. It's a major thing. It was a major story, dude. I mean, it's taught in law school and stuff probably. But yeah, and nobody came to her aid because everybody thought somebody else was going to do something. So, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, 64.
1964.
March 13th, 1964.
Mm-hmm.
Murder of Kitty Genovese?
Okay, Genovese.
Genovese, okay. Sorry,
Yes.
I butchered
Kitty
that one.
Genovese?
Kitty, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that just, I don't know. I don't know why it's like this, but it happened all too often.
Well, people just don't.
I mean, because you know what, that kind of this is kind of contradicting what I said earlier, and I'm like thinking about it more, like,
Okay.
meaning like the whole don't help unless, but like this is also like that's different. Like, there's a difference when it's a physical attack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing when they're saying it to you. Like, if you're out in public and somebody's yelling at his wife or whatever, don't jump in the middle of that. You don't know what's happened. You don't know the stories.
Right.
But like, I'm not saying beat the dude up if he like hits her, but you separate him. You don't let him continue to beat on her. Just like you wouldn't let another man continuously beat on a helpless person.
Right. I mean, they're
That's
always
different.
Did you see people always why all the time when these groups when they're in these groups and they're beating people up, do they stomp on your head at the end?
It's because they have. I mean, I remember not hitting a man down. That was the rule.
It's always the
it was
same
my
thing.
dad or my grandpa taught me after one of my first fights. It was like, just so you know, you never hit a man when he's down. When he's down, it's over. Like, don't kick him you just don't hit him. That's it. I don't know why these people think they can get away with whatever they want.
I know. It's disturbing.
Well, yeah.
Look at George Takei. Watch this.
Oh boy.
He is a clown in blackface sitting on the Supreme Court. He gets me that angry. I'm sure. He doesn't belong there. And
You want to hear that again?
Yeah.
he is a clown in blackface sitting on the Supreme Court. He gets me that angry. I'm sure. He doesn't belong there. And
Wow.
He's a clown in blackface. George Takei?
Yeah.
Okay. Takei?
Takei it is.
However you pronounce it.
Wow.
How about Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson's in the news. He is violated his
Oh boy.
I don't know. He did, what did he do? Okay. He dead named. Do you know what dead naming is?
I do not actually.
So if you're in a trans, okay, so if you dead name me, if you call me this, okay, wow. So don't dead name me. You better not be dead naming me. You cannot call me this.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Call, and it's in parentheses next, a transgender person by their birth name when they have changed their name as part of their gender transition. Wow, that much.
Yeah, don't be dead naming me. That's it. Just you apply your same logic to yourself.
Oh, well, they won't.
Apply your same logic to yourself.
No.
So Jordan Peterson has violated the Twitter rules.
Oh yeah.
And you know, he wrote this tweet right here. I don't know. Should I say it?
Do not say the name.
Shouldn't even say it then. You just read it, I guess. Just read it if you're watching this.
Remember when
Pride was a sin?
And EP just had her breast removed by a criminal physician?
What was he now in?
Yeah.
Like back before the transition. What movies?
I don't remember actually. Let's
But anyway, that's you know, let's live by the same. All I want is for people to apply the same logic. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Apply your same logic, and that's it. And then we're good.
Oh wow, she was in X-Men Last Stand.
Now he
was in it.
Right?
Yeah. Now he Juno, Inception, Hard Candy. Okay.
So what about there's a mom. Look at this. I'm just going through it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Powering through it. How about this mom who was handcuffed by cops before she managed to jump the fence and save her son and his friends from Uvalde gunmen?
I think we talked.
No, she claims she's now being harassed by officers who park outside her home and flicker their headlights.
Huh.
How about that for a headline?
Wow, that's
interesting, right?
I mean, come on. She was doing what I would expect. Probably most, if not all.
No, I'm not sure she's paranoid or something about.
I mean, if it's happening,
maybe it is happening.
If it's happening, then that's just straight like kind of harassment. Like, how are you gonna do that? I understand that she broke the barrier,
showing the incompetence.
Yeah,
illustrating the incompetence.
But that's kind of on them. That's more on them. There's no need to be going to her house or doing anything to her. Leave her alone. She showed your incompetence. Sorry, she showed you up.
Right.
What are you going to do if you lose at a basketball game? Go over there and try to steal the guy's truck? And you see how that worked out in that movie.
What was that from?
American History X. All
right, check this out. This is a continuation of what we talked about the other day. The other day, we had the picture of the girl with it says not yet human.
Yeah.
This is the girl.
Oh,
she's a stupidiot. Anyway, she talks a little bit about her faith though, which is interesting. Check this out.
Amanda, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you were very pregnant.
I am very pregnant. I am due tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. And are you due to be induced or are you going to wait and see?
I'm going to wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now tell me about what you have written on your stomach.
Sure. So this is a part of me right now. I'm Jewish, and according to Jewish law and tradition, life begins with the first breath and at birth, and that if anything were to happen up until then, that it is part of me, and it is my decision. It's part of my body. It's like a limb. I mean, it is a significant part of me, but it's my decision.
Okay, so I see you have written here. Can you read it to me?
Yeah, it says not yet a human.
And why did you write that?
Because everyone is talking about murder, and it's just, it's me. It's not somebody else yet. I have a child. This is a person with will. This is a person who has decision-making power, and this is me.
What do you think of today's decision?
It's awful. I mean, it's horrible. I don't know, what parts this baby is going to have, but if he or she does not have the options that they need to make bodily choices around what they can do with their own life, I don't know how to protect them in the world.
At 1 month old, the baby Rue, barely more than the size of a jelly bean, emerges from one of its mother's 2 uteri. Once it's outside her body, it grips her fur, and though it still hasn't developed eyes, it instinctively relies on its forelegs to crawl up towards her pouch. It takes a few minutes for the tiny Rue to reach the pouch. That's it, there. Within minutes, it reaches her pouch and latches on to its mother's teeth.
Okay, I think that she is living in the past. She's living in the past, and
I have one major. It's only on her end.
listen. I thought. Here's what I thought. She's taking it literal. It's almost like her interpretation of the Bible, which is the Old Testament, basically. It's the interpretation is like so skewed, and you know, if you take it more literal.
Okay, fine. I have an argument on that then. And
okay.
It's a good on them. Okay, so let's take this literally. Not yet a human. Is that true?
No. Part of it's what I was doing before. Yeah. It's the part of me. It's my body. You got to think. It's not. This is my body. She's not very.
Yeah.
She's a stupid idiot. She's a stupid idiot. Obviously, stupid idiot because, if it was, remember the real argument. Now I see the argument why they make it. It's not to be taken literally. It's to be taken. This is my, or maybe it is to be taken literally. This is my body. My body means, okay, there's two people that made this. That's fine. But this is my body and I have the right to expel it and take it out of me if I want to. That I understand is the argument. If you want to say it like that, say it's my body and I can do whatever I want. That's fine. But if you say this is literally my body, like an extension of me, she is a stupid idiot.
The biggest thing I have a problem with hers argument is that, that's not a human yet. It's not anything yet, right?
Right. Joey, look at the Joey.
Well, then how about this? If we didn't know about the Joey, on the ultrasound, they can show you, I think in the third trimester,
right,
when the heart is formed, that the heart is beating.
Right.
The heart.
Literally what you could probably do is right after inception, if they figure out how to scoop that out of you and put it to a liquid in like a jar that does the same thing, simulates what your body does, it will grow.
Yeah.
It's a living thing. The Joey pops out and actually crawls up into somehow does that.
I got to ask you, God, why'd you do that one? That's interesting, though.
It is interesting.
Yeah. Wow, and she was saying she's due tomorrow, so she's in her past. She
said she's due, yeah
she's due any minute. Like, that.
It's insane. There. It's insane. So anyway, that's insane. No, now did you see this? I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe you could fact check this for me or something like that. But either somebody has taken over the Twitter account of Radio Shack, or somebody got their handle somehow, and people are thinking that they're actually talking to the real. I don't know. Watch this. It's crazy because I was looking on Twitter. Here's some Twitter feeds from Radio Shack. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I laid these out earlier. But hey, Best Buy support. I was just on the customer service call with one of your reps named Candace. She was so rude. Can we do anything about this? Taking the second half of an edible after feeling nothing from the first half is always a bad idea. This chocolate bar got me out here fighting for my life. Any interaction with this tweet will be considered for a chance to win catching these MF radio hands. Good morning. Good morning. Leads, get ready to rumble. I think this is a typo. Nut butter. Switch at. Hold on. Did you see anything? Are you coming up with anything on the Googleator?
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
So gone are the days when Radio Shack is the place your dad and even your grandparents buy their stuff. Radio Shack has changed. It is now a blockchain company that has launched its own crypto exchange, the Radio Shack Swap. So now it's becoming a cryptocurrency company. And in other words, it would probably redesigned to be pushed in a different way. So probably new people heading it and new, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not basically.
Look
don't
at
think
this,
of
dude.
Radio Shack like you
didn't
used to.
really have a choice here. He retweets and it's a tweet that says retweet if you'd punch the S out of pedophiles. This is on Radio Shack's thing.
Yeah, they're.
Anyone remember those cool robots we used to sell called iLadies? I don't remember that. Radio Shack execs, we need a succinct marketing plan with tangible KPIs to facilitate healthy growth in our ecosystem. Radio Shack intern, hold my beer for a second. Okay, so hear me out.
So basically, Radio
is this an
Shack
is this an
taking
intern?
over.
Is this an intern who's taking over though? Like the
I know. I feel like it's more or less of like they probably bought out more of the name in it. You know what I mean?
okay.
That's how I'm thinking of it because now they're more of a crypto thing.
Are they
so,
even? Do they even have stores?
I don't. Let's see that.
It says, I think the only person who's servicing more customers than us over the years is Jake Paul's girlfriend. Good morning, people of Twitter. Radio Shack checking in. Over. We're currently building a crypto-based subscription service similar to OnlyFans. We're only in beta, but take a look and let us know what you think so far. And then there is a link for the app radioshack.org/preview. Crazy that in today's society, for instance, a man has sex with tons of women. He's labeled as a player or top G. But then when a woman goes out and has sex with thousands of men, we call her Little Pump's mom.
Damn.
I mean, this is on Radio Shack's feed, dude. What is going on?
From what it looks like, there are some open. However, a lot of them are like they have like a name first. Like this one is Innovative Electronics, and then it says Radio Shack. So I'm not.
Dude, oh my God, what is that? Let me zero in on that one right there. That's hilarious. This is crazy.
This is weird.
Look at this. It's somebody who says, thanks, Radio Shack, 2-day shipping. My CoffeeZilla vibrating batteries arrived just in time since now I'm too scared to have sex until menopause. And then it's retweeted. It says, have fun with your new vibrator batteries, Rachel. Wish I could be there too. Oh my God. What is going on at Radio Shack, dude? Radio Shack's awesome. I love Radio Shack. Look at this. Last night was a movie when upload. What? Pornhub thing?
Yeah.
Good morning. Who else is high AF already? And it's just a picture of an elevator inside of an elevator.
That's a good one. I like that one actually. That was cool.
And then Radio Shack. Okay, so Harambe is a dead meme, and so is Bored Ape YC after this lawsuit. Like Kofifi. Sometimes I just feel like I should go do more coke with Elon Musk.
What?
Oh, I say communication is key, then start ghosting everybody. Look at this. How many batteries does it take to keep your account running? Somebody says, and he just replies to it.
Same amount of batteries to keep your mom's vibrator powered.
The same amount of batteries to keep your mom's vibrator powered.
Wow. I saw on one of my things when I was looking it up, it said if she's a squirter, marry her.
It's
from Radio Shack too.
I mean, that is what is going on to Radio Shack, dude.
I want to say that somebody I feel might have bought them out, like the name or something.
Yep.
And that comes with the Twitter, I'm sure, you know?
Yep.
So they're rebranding it into a cryptocurrency. Oh, that's why. They're rebranding something that most people don't even, we had to look up. Is Radio Shack even open anymore? They're rebranding it by getting publicity.
Mm-hmm.
So they can then sell their coins because more people, who's going to buy a Radio Shack coin if you didn't even know Radio Shack still existed?
Right.
Apparently they do, and they're very edgy.
Look at this. This is the news. Actually, this is kind of nuts. about a certain violent criminal organization.
Oh boy.
This is from the Gateway Pundit. It says exclusively PBs proven innocent in newly released video hidden from public. DOJ tried to hide this evidence, blows up DOJ and Liz Cheney's bogus seditious conspiracy charges. They hid this from public. See entire video here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the video.
We're never going to be the ones to cross the police barrier or cross something in order to get to somebody. We're always going to be the ones standing back, right? And we're always going to be the ones to fucking defend. And we've been really good at it. We've been, let's be honest, we've been really good at that. We need a way to do rallies better. We fucked up on the 12th. I'm not going to say that we fucked up royally because a lot of good things happen on the 12th, right? Except, whatever. Jeremy's in here. Fuck that dude. But there is things that we need to fix, and it wasn't because of the 12th. It's because moving forward, we can't continue to have that issue. It will bury the entire club if one huge incident happens, and we're at fault. I saw a lot of people going on the offense. We're not used to going on the offense. That's why it's called self-defense. Self-defense should always come first. You should always defend yourself. We shouldn't put ourselves in harm's way, right? We've been known to defend people. I get it, right? But it doesn't mean that we have to go out and look for it. To touch on that subject, staying together is probably like the most important thing. We had so many fucking people go off on their own. That's actually the biggest problem that we had. I spend, and this includes in most rallies, but it's more controllable when it's a smaller group. I spend most of my time in rallies fucking bringing people back. I'm just fucking corralling everybody, right? Trying to keep everybody from doing something stupid. If there's one dude, there's 1,000 of us, dude. Like, we could literally fucking stampede over this dude without using our hand and just walk over him and it's over. So, your throttle control is important, and listening is really fucking important, please. So I can't stress that enough. That's the most important part here, gentlemen. Go ahead and talk shit as long as it, keep it fucking professional. But we're never going to be the ones to cross the police barrier or cross something in order to get to somebody. We're always going to be the ones standing back, right? And we're always going to be the ones to fucking defend. And we've been really good at it. We've been, let's be honest, we've been really good at that. But what I saw on Saturday was like a fucking pool of fucking unchained pit bulls just running into every situation, right? If we don't run into the situation and we just chill, we'll be there. Dude, there was enough of us to there was enough of us to fucking go ahead and do whatever we wanted to do in DC. Nobody was going to be able to stop it.
Not the cop, not nobody would stop this.
So just granted by that fact, we need to chill. We need to relax. We need to get all of our guys home, right? And one thing that we're talking about a lot of serious shit right here, but one thing that we can't forget is to have fun, right? To enjoy ourselves out there, enjoy the boys, get fucking hammered, get trashed. Those are things that we
don't get stabbed.
And don't get stabbed, which Jeremy broke that rule a couple times.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I'm not the only one. There was 3 others. So
they're all going to be disavowed by the end of this. So we trust you guys, right? We trust you guys to do the right thing. That your throttle control is going to be there. That you're not going to just run in and think you're a fucking hero, because we're not heroes. Okay, people may perceive that we're heroes, but in all actuality, I've said this a whole bunch of times. We're a bunch of fucking retards that get pointed in the correct direction, and we've kind of lucked. This whole thing has been kind of luck and kind of charm, because we're some charming, handsome motherfuckers too. We get away with a lot of things because we're fucking some sexy ass motherfuckers. The way that these national rallies are going to be conducted is our dream of this is that we have 400, 500 members, and we say, hey, we're going to go to fucking DC. We're going to go to Austin. I know that Rufio had just briefly mentioned today that we should go to Montgomery, Alabama and do the SPLC thing. This is where we come into play, and we as that chapter fucking go ahead and do that, plan that, and put that together. You have to have a home chapter. right? This isn't like something that you could join without having a home chapter. You have to be a Proud Boy. So the 75 or the 74 of you that are in this chat have been handpicked because we're used to dealing with you, or we see that you have like some type of throttle control. Another thing on this specific rally, we are not wearing our traditional black and yellow Fred Perry. We're going to go a little bit more incognito, put some fear in them. It's worked out, but that's not always going to be the case. If the local chapter says, yeah, hey, you know what? You can fucking wear Perry's. We don't give a fuck. Then we're going to go in Perry's. So
we don't want guys getting stabbed. We don't want guys getting shot. We don't want anything bad happening to anything or anybody at all, really. But, we decided to put this team together. We put this leadership structure together so that we can nationally, organize these events and everything. And you guys are part of this whole entire thing.
But yeah, touching on what you were saying, what I noticed was just everyone was like hyper on edge at that last rally. And, what we're trying to avoid by doing this is like that cowboy shit where people are running off, like when we were leaving the Freedom Plaza, I saw the dudes in the fucking skirts running off fucking down and we had to fucking chase them down, and it breaks us up. And that's what we're trying to avoid with what we're doing here.
And another thing too, we'll talk about in the future is medical kits and stuff like that. Like you said, we're not really going to discuss a plan for that yet, but it's something in the future that we will discuss. That way we have some kind of organization as to what we're carrying. That way, if someone goes down and gets hurt and we have to use their supplies, and then maybe another person beside you lost theirs, we can reach into any individual first aid kit and have whatever it is we need to reach in and grab to make sure that we can save that person's life, or at least do the best we can until first responders get there.
Yeah, my IFAC that I was carrying on me that I always have saved my fucking ass that night. Somebody put the chest vent on me. It saved me. So yeah, carry an IFAC if you don't fucking have one. Let's see here. I'm trying to get some. What about helmets, plates, plate carriers?
We'll talk equipment. So one of the plans is to get you guys a list of equipment that you would practically need to get, and then a list of equipment that we recommend. Is something that we're looking to do on this event. Just stay tuned for what you should be wearing, but I think it's just going to be we'll put it in the chat once we have that conversation.
Well, listen, even if you can't, man, get some fucking pull like a fucking Omar from The Wire and like fucking duct tape goddamn phone books around your fucking around yourself. Trust me, you don't want to get stabbed. If you've never been stabbed, you don't want to get stabbed. So whatever the fuck you can do to prevent that, do it. I don't give a shit if it costs fucking 13 cents or 1,300. Do whatever you got to do to protect your fucking body. Your vital
I've been
organs.
stabbed 3 times in my life, man. I don't ever want to fucking have it done again. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Take these guys' words for it, fellas.
Or anything else that you want to address?
Yeah, I'll address something. This is something that we all need to talk about. But the escalation of force. Obviously, where the ministry is self-defense. So our escalation of force isn't going to be to go out and attack. It's going to be more of like a bodyguard system. So obviously we'll be around the marketing team, aka the dudes that get all the press and stuff like that, and basically be a bodyguard service for the mission that they're trying to accomplish. But that being said, there's also going to be smaller teams that go out and do things like recon and quick reaction force in case somebody gets jammed up in a bind, and also to provide information back to that main element. So as of now, I think we all agree on this with the escalation of force. It's in strictly a defensive mode unless the threat is so imminent that you believe that your life is in danger. What do you think?
Those of us who, at least for the last 2 events, have been tied to some security detail, could we be like partially in this chapter and not? In other words, when we're done with that security detail, like, can we meet up with, like 10 other guys, or I guess, 6 other guys? Like in our security detail, we have 4, right? We're tied with Latinos for Trump. Yeah. But basically everyone in that detail is in this chapter. So
Yeah, I know so basically what he's saying. So my chapter is doing a security detail specifically for Latinos for Trump, completely off. When you're done with that detail, I think that we're going to be around for a little bit. But when you're done with that detail, as I guess yes, the answer would be yes. But I guess the logistics portion of it would come in how you get to us or where we are. If it's like a marching route, then no problem. You guys can walk straight to us. But I guess we'll stay in communication. You'll be on the chat channels, and I'll include you in that. Ash,
are we going to be using that Zello thing this time?
So the Zello thing was just like really. I knew not too many people were going to be able to use it because of the data. So we're going to have it as a backup, but we're always going to go to our radios for communication. Okay. Yes. Even your own chapter mates, this is its own chapter. Like I wouldn't want you to tell me something that happens in your chapter. So we're not going to allow for you guys to talk about what happens in here with your chapter, guys. Obviously there is chatter about this and what we do here, but keep it at that level. Keep it at, hey, it's none of your business. If we're marching, yes, try to keep the people that are following us the fuck away from us, right? We don't want anybody following us at all, ever.
And definitely not breaking our ranks. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I tried my best to do that last time. Is like, guys, don't let anybody in here. But these motherfuckers. Well, see, the other problem is when I said earlier we have to learn how to stay in formation and learn how to fucking march. You got guys that like fucking lag behind, and then we gotta slow down, speed up, slow down. It's like, left, right, right. It's fucking easy walking, guys. And if we can keep ourselves tight, nut to butt, elbow to asshole, we won't let any fucking body into our formation. And that is key because we don't know who the fuck these people are that are just automatically walking into our formation. Now we got to be aware. Is Antifa going to try to fucking walk into our formation and knife us in the back when we're fucking walking? One dude had enough balls to come upon fucking 500 of us and start swinging a knife trying to gut us like fucking fish. So you can imagine what they're going to try to do if they can sneak their way into our fucking formation. So
the hard part, I think, to get these guys to go back inside is that they've been stuck inside for months, terrified of all these fucking terrorists running around destroying their cities. So when they had the opportunity to see these guys were bravely walking the streets of DC at nighttime,
You guys could go check that out if you want to check it out.
When we leave, they're not doing that.
That's really, really long. But I think that illustrates the point.
Yeah,
pretty much.
There was no plan. There was no.
All you gotta say is this: just look at the J6 stuff and just know.
Yeah, with that out here.
That's all.
Hey, watch the rest of it if you want.
BS.
And you make your own decisions.
Right. Here's something that's kind of messed up, man.
Mm.
In the the FBI opened sweeping probe of clergy sex abuse in New Orleans. New Orleans. The FBI has opened a widening investigation into sex abuse in the Roman Catholic Church in New Orleans, going back decades, where a federal foray into such cases looks specifically at whether priests took children across state lines to molest them. Officials and others familiar with the inquiry told the Associated Press. More than a dozen alleged abuse victims have been interviewed this year as part of the probe that's exploring, among other charges, whether predator priests can be prosecuted under the Mann Act, a more than century-old anti-sex trafficking law that prohibits taking anyone across state lines for illicit sex. Some of the New Orleans cases under review allege abuse by clergy during trips to Mississippi camps or amusement parks in Texas and Florida. And while some claims are decades-old Mann Act violations, notably, have no statute of limitations. It's been a long road, and just the fact that someone this high up believes us means the world to us, said a former altar boy who alleged his assailant took him on trips to Colorado and Florida and abused him beginning in the 1970s when he was in the 5th grade. The AP generally does not identify people who say they have been sexually assaulted. The FBI declined to comment, as did the Louisiana State Police, which is assisting in the inquiry. The Archdiocese of New Orleans declined to discuss the federal investigation. I'd prefer not to pursue this conversation. Archbishop Gregory Amond told the AP. Interesting.
Wow, that seems like that should be a developing story, but
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, that's the thing is it's old. I mean, that's from the 1970s, man.
Yeah.
You know? That's from the 1970s, and now they're going to open up investigation right now into it. I mean, okay. I hope that's nobody's found out, you know, they say anything about, or I hope it's, you know, not bad.
Yeah.
Now. But let's pray for the Catholic Church in New Orleans. Was it the Catholic Diocese? Oh my God, how about this? R. Kelly, dude.
Oh, yeah, he's
sentenced to 30 years in prison after sex trafficking conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I saw a little thing about that. I just saw the headline. I didn't read into it.
Man, that's terrible. A federal judge on Wednesday sentenced R. Kelly to 30 years in prison. The R&B star found guilty in September of racketeering and sex trafficking charges stemming from a decades-old practice of recruiting and grooming girls and young women for illegal sex. Judge Ann Donnelly, who oversaw his trial, handed down the 30-year sentence plus an additional 5 years of supervised release and a $100,000 fine during a hearing where 7 of his victims spoke about suffering under his control. Donnelly condemned Kelly for the serial rape and sexual abuse he perpetrated on his victims. These victims were disposable to you, Donnelly said. You left in your wake a trail of broken lives. Kelly, whose real name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, has been detained in Brooklyn, New York since his arrest in 2019. He declined to give a statement at his sentencing hearing Wednesday. His attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, noted that he's scheduled to stand trial in Chicago on other sex crime charges. Wow. Prosecutors previously asked the judge to sentence Kelly, 55, to a minimum of 25 years in prison. Bonjean, who joined the case after Kelly's conviction and has represented a number of high-profile clients accused of sex crimes, including Bill Cosby and sex cult founder Keith Raniere, requested a sentence of 10 years, the mandatory minimum. Bonjean argued in court that the judge should consider Kelly's own difficult childhood as a mitigating factor in sentencing. His struggling with literacy brought him great shame, she said, and Kelly was sexually abused by his sister and a landlord when he was a child, she said. Donnelly was unmoved. She referenced statements given by his victims earlier in the hearing. As we saw in court today, there are countless people who had these experiences who did not commit these crimes, Donnelly said. Kelly didn't react when Donnelly issued the sentence. He sat next to his attorneys at a table and looked down at his hands clasped in front of him. The prosecution called more than 40 witnesses to testify in Kelly's summer 2020 trial, which spanned more than a month at the U.S. District Court in Brooklyn. The arrest, conviction, and now sentencing of Kelly marks the dramatic downfall of a man who was once considered the king of R&B. Numerous women and 2 men who testified against him at trial said that he lured them into sexual slavery after promising to help their careers in the music industry, promises he almost never kept. The women, many of whom were teenagers when they met Kelly, testified that Kelly directed them to have sex with him and each other, and said the singer obviously videotaped the sexual encounters.
Obsessively. Ooh.
Oh, sorry, obsessively.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Some accusers told the jury that Kelly blackmailed them by forcing them to write letters containing embarrassing information and lies, which he saved in case they ever spoke out against him. The accusers also testified about the control Kelly maintained over their lives, requiring them to seek his permission to use the bathroom and forbidding them from looking at other men. When they stepped out of line, some women testified Kelly would be furious and punish them. One woman said he forced her to get an abortion. Other women said he coerced them into making embarrassing videos of themselves, including one woman who said he forced her to smear feces on her face. Donnelly said Kelly's worldwide fame and the untold money he leveraged to control his victims were among the factors she considered in his sentencing. The 25-year span of his sexual slavery scheme, she said, demonstrated it was not sex addiction, as Bonjean argued, nor an aberration, but calculated. You preyed on your ready supply of adoring fans and had your employees bring them to you, the judge told Kelly Wednesday. The trial also unveiled new information about the nature of Kelly's short-lived sham marriage to Aaliyah, the R&B singer, whom Kelly mentioned from the age of who mentored from the age of 12. Their marriage was annulled less than a year after they were wed. Former employees, an accuser, and a minister told the jury that Kelly bribed an Illinois government employee to obtain a fake ID for Aaliyah in order to marry her, so she wouldn't need her parents' permission to get an abortion. Aaliyah died in 2001 at 22 in a plane crash near the Bahamas. Experts previously told Insider that the operation Kelly ran was similar to a sex cult in which he became an object of worship to those he controlled. Wow. Kelly, who has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, is also awaiting an August trial for a federal sex crimes case in Chicago. In that case, the artist faces over a dozen charges involving the sexual abuse of 6 minors. Prosecutors say the abuse of some of those victims was recorded on video, prompting child pornography charges in the case. Kelly's former employees, Daryl McDavid and Milton Brown, have also been charged in the case and are accused of conspiring to conceal evidence ahead of Kelly's 2008 child porn trial in Cook County. McDavid and Brown have pled not guilty. Kelly was acquitted in 2018 after his lawyers successfully pushed the trial back years and witnesses withdrew from cooperating with prosecutors. It was at that trial that Honda Pace, then a 16-year-old fan of the singer, met Kelly when she showed up to court to support him. Wow. Soon afterward, Kelly invited Pace to his home. It was the beginning of a sexually abusive relationship that lasted years. At his trial this past fall in Brooklyn, Pace was the first of Kelly's accusers to testify against him. Wow. Interesting, man.
Wow. Well, it shows what power can do to someone.
It shows what power can do to somebody.
I mean,
for somebody.
I feel like he ran, like how they said it, like he ran it like a sex cult that he was to be worshipped. Like,
do you have R. Kelly down in the notes for the now? So 2 more. So this is just in reference to what was going on with Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I know that he was well, maybe that's just a temporary ban or whatever it is. But the Daily Wire, which now boasts 890,000 paid subscribers, I think that's owned by, what's his face? Ben Shapiro. They signed Jordan Peterson to a new Daily Wire Plus. Like CNN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a Daily Wire Plus. See that?
Okay.
So a little bit of good news for Jordan Peterson. Over the past 3 months, the Daily Wire has added tens of thousands of new paying subscribers, pushing the overall subscriber number for the conservative news and media empire founded by Ben Shapiro, Caleb Robinson, and Jeremy Boring to 890,000. That puts the company, the subscriber base for which stood just shy of 600,000 mark back in April, within striking distance of 1 million. A number that might actually be achieved sooner rather than later as a result of a series of updates and announcements that the company laid out on Wednesday, June 29th, yesterday. Mm-hmm. Just weeks after the release of the Daily Wire's latest feature film, the Gina Carino-led Western Terror on the Prairie, part of the Netflix-like slate of original content that's now on included Daily Wire subscriber benefit, the company has announced the launch of something new, Daily Wire Plus. That's the name of a platform which goes live immediately that will house the company's growing library of video content, all of which is the product of an effort that by degrees is pushing the company into a realm far ahead from the web-based news site for which it's long been known. This is in Forbes magazine. The Daily Wire's video content now includes original. They're kind of like the Spotify now. They're doing like a Spotify thing.
Basically, yeah.
And we do got to stop and get back to get to work here and do things within the day. Actually, I think it's okay. It's got a lot of prep stuff. I think tomorrow's going to be the main because we still got to wait on ink, right?
Yeah, it hasn't come yet.
The Daily Wire's video content, but we do okay. Daily Wire's video content now includes original feature films like Terror on the Prairie. Okay, I think it's just gonna say that over again.
Probably.
Basically, we got that. So
they just got a bunch of new subscribers due to some announcements like Jordan Peterson joining and whatever.
Okay, that was it. That was like a media thing, like
that was just
specifically like a media.
Yeah, it was just like a media report on what another media source is doing.
Right. And this is the last thing in the news. In the bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats unveiling transgender Bill of Rights.
Oh yeah.
So a group of House Democrats on Tuesday announced they would move to codify federal protections for transgender people. The proposal, dubbed the Transgender Bill of Rights, would codify the Supreme Court's 2020 Bostock v. Clayton County decision that protects employees against discrimination for being gay or transgender. The proposal would amend the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to explicitly include protections for gender identity and sex characteristics, expand access to gender-affirming care, and ban conversion therapy. Ban conversion therapy.
Wow, that really?
What does that mean?
Meaning,
the people that want to go, that don't want to be gay anymore.
Yeah, or
you're not allowed to.
They're not allowed.
Oh my God! Retransition, detransition, like we were talking about.
Yeah, they're
like the whole thing about this.
They're coming out with it, and here's my bigger problem.
You're not allowed to catch this, guys. Yeah. Understand this, guys. You're allowed to transition, but you're not allowed to detransition in this world that has been fabricated and created that allows for no retribution whatsoever. This is the world that we live in. Okay.
Now it is.
It would also require the Attorney General to designate a liaison dedicated to overseeing enforcement of civil rights for transgender people and invest in community services to prevent anti-transgender violence. Representative Pamela Jayapal, Democrat in Washington, the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and co-chair of the Transgender Equality Task Force, said in a statement that the resolution would ensure transgender people can lead full, happy lives as we witness Republicans in an extremist Supreme Court attack and roll back the fundamental rights of trans people across the country, and as state legislators across the country target our trans community with hateful, bigoted, and transphobic attacks. We are standing up and saying enough is enough. Jayapal introduced the proposal alongside representatives David Ceciline, Mary Newman, Mark Takano, and Richie Torres. The bill has 84 other co-sponsors. The bill's proponents cited Friday's Supreme Court decision overturning the constitutional right to an abortion. Okay, we know this. Wow. So Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in a concurring, we know this. We know those. So now you're going into the other stuff. All right, so they're considering a transgender Bill of Rights.
And I mean, here's my question about.
I think we're done with the bad news, man. Back in the good news. Hit the good news again. Hit the good news. Because we got to get to work and we need to keep the focus. And it's 12:27. Not to be. I want to stay in the moment.
Yeah.
But we need to. What was your last point?
Since when are transgender people not people? There's already a Bill of Rights for the people.
There is.
So what is the problem? Are they not people now?
I don't know, man. I guess they're not. I guess they're not.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this world right now, man.
It's very worrisome.
Yes, it is. So, Lord, hear our prayer, man. Yeah. I'm going to come up with a standard. So let's just say, let's just do we'll do it after the meditation. We'll do it after the meditation. We'll read the meditation first.
Okay.
It'll put us in the mood. We'll do the prayer, and then we'll go. All right.
All right.
Meditation of the day. It's Courage Child. That's the title, and it is by Blessed Clelia Merloni. I think we've read something of hers before.
I think so.
Surrender to Jesus like a child on its mother's breast, and don't be afraid. You belong totally to Jesus, and no one will tear you from his arms as long as you are trusting and good. I assure that I am often close to you in spirit and that I never forget you in prayer. I enclose you in the most gentle heart of Jesus, consoler of afflicted and suffering souls. Be consoled, child, because trials are a sure pledge of God's love. And when God is with us, who will be against us? If you act rightly and confide in the heart of Jesus, you will see miracles if necessary. If despite all your precaution, you fall even 100 times a day, don't be discouraged. Put your body and soul into the hands of that powerful heavenly doctor who is the heart of Jesus. He whose power and goodness instantly calmed the demoniacs.
Yeah.
Will know how to calm your nerves. Is that like maniacs and demons together?
That's what I'm
Besides,
thinking.
there is no better medicine than prayer. When you must engage in some battle to conquer yourself, first turn your thoughts to your weakness. Then turn your thoughts to divine power, wisdom, and goodness. Decide to fight and work, confiding in these. Armed with these and with prayer, fight and work generously. Don't stop repeating this brief prayer in your mind and heart. Blood and wounds of my Jesus, be my strength, my support, my weapons in spiritual, moral, physical, and temporal combat. Be my victor, my merit, my virtue. Also say, oh, my mother, you take care of transforming me totally as the heart of Jesus desires. That's by Blessed Clelia Merloni. Now, I just want to say a prayer for our, love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, dear Lord Jesus, please come into the hearts and lives of our enemies. Those people that struggle, those people that are too worldly, that do not know you, those people that read the book wrong, those people that are misguided. Lord, we ask you to hear these prayers. For who? Genghis?
For AOC.
Lord, hear our prayer. So say, Lord, Lord, hear our prayer.
Lord, hear our prayer.
For who else, Genghis? Next.
Biden. Lord,
hear our prayer. For
George Takei.
Lord, hear our prayer. For
the pregnant liberal.
Lord, hear our prayer. For
Apostle Gino Jennings.
Lord, hear our prayer.
For the Catholic Diocese of
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Lord, hear our prayer.
Lord, hear your prayer.
For
R. Kelly.
For R. Kelly.
Yep.
Lord, hear our prayer.
And the Democrats who are trying to pass the transgender Bill of Rights.
For all those Democrats
and the LGBT.
Those demon-crats, those demon, demoniacs.
Which means a person who is embodied by the evil spirit.
Lord, please let that evil spirit be expelled and replaced with the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Wow, that felt great. I'm ready to take on the day.
All right.
Aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I feel outstanding right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Outstanding. Pow! FATENZO.com. FATENZO.com. FATENZO.com.
What did we learn today? Did we learn anything today?
I still believe that we are all redeemable, and I still believe that you don't have to be held by your past. Just as
the Apostle Gino is a great name, man. What a great way to get Catholics to Apostle Gino.
That's a kind of cool name. That is a cool name. He just, I think, is a little
misguided.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean,
I think a lot of these people are, man. Fortunately.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of them are all like.
Go find your a Catholic church by you. Go into a daily routine. If you got some time on your hand, or you can start your day a little bit later, whatever, or you can go at lunch. They have them. Get centered. Get right with God,
Yeah.
And vaya con Dios. Listen, The podcast has ended. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord and be nice to your fellow man.
Yeah.
Vaya con Dios.
Go with God.
Outstanding. Pow!